what would you say is very important to focus on in the different kinds of practices that we have available, like reading, chanting, service, and so on? There's so many opportunities. Where should we spend our time to really go very quickly in advance?
To be grateful for what you have now. Practice gratitude, because you're always somewhere. And if you're always looking, oh, it's not good enough, it's too slow, I've got to go somewhere else, then you always feel a little out of balance. But if you're grateful for what you have right now, then in the present moment you'll appreciate exactly what Krishna's given you. I have a friend who taught me this practice. When he wakes up in the morning, he stands in front of a picture of Prabhupada. He says, thank you, Srila Prabhupada. And I started noticing, I started doing that also, and then I noticed too, whenever my mind gets anxious, I'll start saying, thank you, Krishna, thank you, Krishna, thank you, Krishna. And then it changes into Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And I'm chanting with this mood of thank you, Krishna. And it really helps to have gratitude for what you are right now. This idea of going faster and I'm not there yet, or there, what's there? I mean, idea of being somewhere else all the time is a little exhausting. Just be here and appreciate for what you have right now, and you're a lot more effective in doing whatever you do, because when you appreciate that you've been given, as we were doing inventory for Srikar this morning, we could have still been sitting here listing off things that he could be grateful for. When you start doing that, you're much more effective in your practice, because you're situated in the present moment and appreciating what you have now. And that's something that is practical. You can practice at any moment. And in fact, when you're chanting and you're expressing gratitude to Krishna, it's a very potent way to chant. If you're chanting and you're thinking, how come I'm not a pure devotee? Or how come I'm not rolling on the floor crying? Then you may feel just dissatisfied, and it's really a mental concoction anyway. Because everything comes by Krishna's mercy. It's not like academics where if you jam a little harder, maybe you can squeeze out I don't know, is there a 4.1 after a 4.0? And, we can transfer that idea to devotional service. Try to be good devotee. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, don't try to be a great devotee. Just try to be a good devotee. And do the best you can. And if you're honest and sincere, that's the most important thing. And you do what you can with your adhikari. Swe swe adhikari anishta saguna parikirtita. Krishna tells us to Uddhava, be who you are now. And he gives, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Chaitanya Shikshamrita gives this example of climbing a ladder. He says, if you run up the ladder too fast, you can slip and fall off the ladder. He said, on the other hand, if you go too slow, you've got your foot on a rung and you know it's solid, but then you hesitate going to the next rung. He said, then your advancement will be too slow. He said it'll be distant. So he said, just take a practical approach to your devotional life. You're on a rung. At least you're on a rung. I remember amongst some of Prabhupada's godbrothers, there was this conversation. And some devotees had taken shelter of some of Prabhupada's godbrothers after Prabhupada left. And then there was one devotee who was famous for deity worship. And then another one who was a great scholar and a philosopher. He was talking about, in an innocuous way, what the different categories of devotees were, the Kanishna, Adhikari, Madhyama, Uttama, and so forth. And he pointed out this person who was fully into deity worship, that he was a Kanishna. But it was it had nothing to do with criticism or anything, but some of the followers of that person heard that, oh, he said, my guru is a Kanishta. And they got so upset. So they ran to their mentor and they said, such and such said, you were Kanishta. And he said, he has given me some adhikari? In other words, like, wow. He gave me a level somewhere in devotional service. It's a very high level that be considered that you have some adhikari for something. He didn't think, like, how come you didn't say I was an uttamadhikari? How come you didn't say I was a paramahamsa and a pure devotee? And none of the devotees that Narada interviews, when he's trying to find out who has the most mercy in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, everyone says, me? You're kidding me, right? No. Go for him or her. They're the ones with the most mercy. And when he gets all the way to Goloka Vrindavan and it's the gopis, who are we? We're servants of everybody else. And so be satisfied with what adhikari you have now. Krishna says it's a good quality. Swe swe adhikari yanisha saguna parikirtina. It's a guna, it's a good quality. And do what you can with what you have now and just be a simple, nice devotee and be good. And everything will come in due course of time by Krishna's mercy. No race to the top, because there is no top. The more you advance in devotional service, says Narada in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the more you think you're less qualified than everybody else. Not that there's this race to Uttama Arikaridam, and once you get there, you won, and you got the 4.0 and you're going to get paid more, or something like that. It doesn't work like that.